install in the soundboard or the console. Um, you can check the processor out. So the processor right now is not affecting this mic. That processor that you can change a lot of stuff in it. I will show you in a little bit. It's not gonna affect that one mic right now, which I think is that mic. You normally want the gain to be where if you're talking in the mic, it doesn't need to be way too close, but it should be, the volume should be on the green part of it. If you're getting to the red, it's gonna have a lot of noise on it. You're not gonna be able to hear it clearly. It's gonna saturate basically. Then on the processor side of it, you have the advanced processor or the normal processor. The normal processor only has 3 things in it. I'll show you guys real quick. It has the depth of it. It has sparkle and punch, which it's basically just 3 different things, 3 different settings you can change on each mic. Okay.
Do you have any idea of what each one values?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what kinds of like recording you'd prefer for each?
So I would normally, because you guys are in a podcast setting, I would normally try to get the voice as clear as we can have it. You normally want the sparkle not too high, but pretty high, at least to like a 60-70% because it's podcast. You want the depth to be, well, the depth depends on what you're working for, what you want your podcast to sound like. So the depth will be like kind of making it sound a little bit more with a low ambience type of thing. Does that make sense? So you will have a depth. You can see it right there. So, and this is the knob that you can change it with. With a less depth, it will sound like you're talking right in front of the mic. With more depth, it will add a little bit of reverb on it. It will add like as if you're in like a big room kind of thing, or in a hall, something like that. And then the punch is just if it's gonna cut out when you are talking too loud or not, basically. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if you are talking to a normal voice and then out of nowhere you like start yelling at it, is it gonna like shut it down and like maintain the level or not, basically? Then in the advanced settings, you have way more stuff to do with it. You have high pass filter, which a high pass filter is a filter that will allow everything after that filter to pass. So you have a frequency. You guys are familiar with sound frequencies and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you have a set frequency for this, which right now it's at 70 hertz. After 70 hertz, it's gonna pass everything. Before 70 hertz, there's no much that's gonna pass. Does that make sense? It helps to change. For example, when people talk and they have a accentuated P, they will be like the whole time. So it will like, it's kind of like the same with the punch, but it's a little bit deeper on this. That's where it's a little bit more advanced. You also have the slope on it, like how many decibels of sound you want to cut. Because you could, I'll show you guys. You have that slope there. So it can be like a deep slope, it will like totally shut it down after that pass, or it will like kind of reduce it. Does that make sense? Then another setting you have, it's de-esser is for the S's, basically. So that people that have the accentuated S sound when they talk. For me, for example, I love using that sometimes in my mics. Just because some people really accentuate that S, and if it's too loud, it's gonna hurt your ears. So with that de-esser, you can troubleshoot that, basically. You have that tag, the ratio, that's really, really deep stuff. You shouldn't worry too much about it, except for the threshold is like how much you want to cut out, and then you have the frequency, which will be where do you want to cut. I would recommend for guys normally between 5,000 and 6,500, and then for women would kind of be between 6,000 and 8,200 or something like that. The hertz of it. That's the frequency. And then you have the noise gate, which I don't think you guys will use it too much. It's already set right now. It's at a really good rate too. It has a tag, release, hold, range. It's basically to where, so every mic or every instrument has a noise that once you plug it in, it will always have it. You can't really get rid of it. The more gain you have, and the gain was the volume that I show you guys here, remember? If you turn up the gain, the noise will increase as well. When you talk in the mic, that noise won't be as strong because now the mic has another sound in it. Does that make sense? So you're not gonna hear as much. But this noise, the noise gate is basically when you're not talking into the mic, it's gonna shut the gate for that noise not to be heard. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's different settings on that. The compressor is kind of like what we talk about the punch. When you talk too loud, it's not gonna pass through, and it's gonna try and maintain the exact same level of volume through the whole thing. So when you're talking normally, it will not have as much, but let me see if I can just test that one. So you guys can see how like the slope is, it starts low and then it doesn't have much compression in it until it starts like here. That's called a knee right there, where it like turns. The harder the knee is, the harder the compressor will like compress the sound basically. It's really easy stuff there. So you can see how that knee is bending there. So it's compressing it a lot. Now it's not. Does that make sense? So when I talk to in it, we don't have a speaker on it so you guys can hear it. You have to be careful with the compressor though, because it can actually damage the quality of the sound that you're producing. Then you have the tag. The gain is basically how much power you want to give to the sound after the compressor. So because it will reduce the sound a little bit, you can also increase a little bit so that it maintains on that exact level. So when you're talking low, it's gonna like boost the signal basically, and then when you're not talking or when you're talking hard, it's gonna like compress it. And then you have the release time, which is just how long do you want the compressor to be up for. The equalization is very simple. You have the gains of each frequency, and you have the frequencies that you want to choose. It has a high bell, mid bell, and a low bell. It's basically from, I would say from like 20 to 500, sometimes even 600 hertz is a low bell or a low frequency. Then you have from like 600 or even 400 to 2000, sometimes even 4000. It's a mid bell or a mid frequency level. And then you have the high frequency, which is all past that until like the 20,000s. And then you have the high gain, the low gain, and the mid gain, which you can't really see what's affecting right now, or the analyzer on it, but the gain will just boost the signal on that range of frequencies, or compress the signal wherever you want it to do. And then you have, I think, yeah. So this is the high part. This is the mid part, and this is the low part. And you basically just change it. And we might have a chance to like hear that. That's okay. And the exciter, I don't think you guys are gonna use that much. I just have a tuner, a drive, and how do they call this? We call it hamming, but it says harmonics here.